Holy that was a okay. I This video is going to be on Spire Global, ticker symbol SPIR. If you didn't notice, it dropped almost 50% today because the deal is apparently falling through, which even that's up for debate because they're currently in court to see what happens, whether or not they can force or whether or not they can require the Kepler to purchase for the allotted amount, which was $241 million, right? I don't understand even, okay, so there's one problem, right? The only problem I see that Spire Global has is that if they cannot acquire funding, right, then what Blue Torch can do is they can basically force them to stop and then pay off their debts, right? Now, they owe, I think, somewhere around like $90 million to $100 million in debt to their to Blue Torch Capital. But please note that, first of all, in the previous call that management had, right, they said that there was not only one bidder for Spire Maritime. Now, if there's more than one bidder, I'm assuming there's more than one purchase, and also I'm also assuming that 241 was the highest, but it's not going to be less than maybe, we'll say 30%, right? They're not going to have bid more than 30% of the previous bidder, right? And that's just my assumption. Maybe they just completely overevaluated it, and for some reason 5.8 times revenue on a SaaS business isn't worth that much. Whatever, who cares? Let's say that it's only worth $150 million, right? That's more than, like, what is that, 40% more than so they paid that's like 40% less than what they paid, right? So only $150 million. At $11 a share, Spire Global is worth $281 million market cap. Do you see a problem with that? That's only one out of the 5 of their businesses, right? 3 of which are around the same size. So that means that, and then 2 of them are smaller but also growing, right? So even if we ignore the 2 and we only have the 3 businesses that are the same size as Spire Maritime, 150 million times 3 is 450 million, right? That's a lot higher than the current market cap at $11 a share of $281 million. It is beyond me that it would drop that much. Yes. The only fear I have, the only possible amount of flood that I can think of, is if Blue Torch somehow, for some reason, forces them to pay the debt, and Spire Global cannot find another person to buy Spire Maritime, even though they previously said that there were multiple bidders. Now, the other thing is, even if Blue Torch Capital were to force them to pay up the $100 million and there's no forbearance, no whatever, right? Even if the next highest bidder was $100 million, right? So that means that Kepler paid or offered $140 million more than the next highest bidder, because they're somehow idiots and their due diligence is a complete piece of crap, right? Even if that's the case, then they can just sell Spire Maritime for $100 million and they'd still have the rest of the company, which currently is trading for $140 million or $180 million, because it's currently market cap is 280, right? If they sold Spire Maritime, God forbid, for only $100 million, then your remaining amount is $180 million, right? So that means $180 million. That means the rest of Spire Global is only worth $180 million, even though they just sold one segment for, as I said before, in worst case scenario that I can think of, $100 million. Also, so I don't know what, but of course this would happen. Of course this would happen. Hey, but it aligned with my wedge perfectly. So that's the thing. My short-dated calls are screwed. Good thing I sold one of them a while back. But hey, we still have like a week or so until the books are done, right? And also, I want to note that they said when the deal was done, when the deal was signed to sell Spire Maritime to Kepler, right? I touched on this earlier, but they said that $241 million minus the 7.5 million for some other expense, right? So it's $233 million was the revenue for the trailing 12 months. So basically it was last year's revenue for Spire Maritime. $233 million was 5.8 times. Let me say that correctly, just so I don't get it mixed up. So this is the actual fact. So $233 million was 5.8 times the trailing 12 months of revenue, right? For a high margin business. Let me get that. That means, right, first of all, you have, that means that only Spire, okay, so that means that Spire Maritime, right, if it were itself a publicly traded business, right, if Spire was only Spire Maritime, right, it would be trading at a little bit more than maybe a 6x the trailing 12 months revenue, right? Now you have to also know, oh, but what about the bottom, or is it bottom line? Yeah, what about the bottom line? What about what are the actual margins? It is basically a SaaS business. The margins are redonkulous. Hello, the margins are crazy for SaaS businesses because there's only the investment cost, and then afterwards, basically, you're just milking that investment cost, right? You're milking the golden goose. Make sure the meeting room is closed. So it's a high margin business, right? So that's only Spire Maritime. Right? Is worth 200 is trading at, or only Spire Maritime alone has a 6 PE ratio, has a 6 times price to earnings, right? If it were, only Spire Maritime alone, right? If you only look at revenue, right? Am I saying this right? Yeah, okay, so I'm going to assume that, let's say that their margins are, we'll say 50%, right? We'll say 50%. So if your revenue is $233 million for the past 12 months, right? You're trading at, what is that, a 12x, right? For only Spire Maritime. Alright, whatever. This is going to be a short video. I'm just going to look at my portfolio and cry. But I'm still holding, I don't know. Yeah, again, as I said before, high conviction play. Also, this is really dependent on what Spire Global is going to do, right? Maybe they give it to the next bidder. Maybe they somehow force Kepler to buy Spire Maritime. Maybe it also depends on whether or not Blue Torch is willing to offer more forbearance, right? So all these things are up in the air. That's it. I don't know. Peace. Bye.